Hey, coffee cuties, we are back with another banger. And today we are going to be talking about the many ways Black women are the blueprint. So let's just get right into it. So there is a lot of false propaganda going on in these YouTube streets and all over social media surrounding Black women because, as we know, we're always the topic in conversation. The latest trend of talking about Black women includes trying to make Black women feel insecure about our beauty. They either try to police our beauty or just flat out undermine our beauty. So there is, however, no denying the fact that Black women, we are literally the main influence when it comes to fashion, beauty, entertainment, and the list just goes on and on. The fact is so obvious, in fact, at this point, that the latest narratives are slowly starting to change, and people are actually having no choice but to acknowledge the fact that we as Black women are the blueprint. However, lately, these same people are literally trying to change the narrative and the perception of what a blueprint is, and basically trying to act like being the blueprint means nothing. So today I am going to debunk all of this, and I'm going to give some key takeaways and tips as well, and just some things that we can apply to our lives as the blueprint. But first, let's get into the definition of what a blueprint is. So the blueprint is basically a guide to something, or basically just the foundation. So without the blueprint, there is literally nothing. So, for example, if you are trying to create something like we often do, we'll create movements, we'll create styles, etc. Oftentimes someone will come along and they'll observe what we have created, they'll admire it, then they'll try to sometimes mold what we as Black women have created and apply it to their own life. So I like to use the metaphor of macaroni and cheese when it comes to this whole mimicking us, etc. But again, people can basically try to attempt to mimic us the best way they can, but like macaroni and cheese, if you don't have the correct recipe, you don't have the sauce, so basically you'll just have noodles and cheese. So the haters, they want to again make it seem like the foundation is not nothing, but without the foundation there is literally nothing at all. And oftentimes too, when we try to gatekeep our ideals, our movements, our perspectives, etc., the first thing that typically happens is people will come along and be like, well, what about us? What about us? Like, you guys didn't include us into your movement. And then we'll get accused of things like being divisive, or we'll be hit with the 3 pillars, even though we're literally creating our own space saying, hey, okay, we want to uplift our own phenotype, our own beauty, etc. People still somehow will find a way to say that we're jealous, we're bitter, we have inferiority complexes, or we have some type of anger issues, etc., all because we want to put our beauty on a pedestal. However, today in this video, I am going to break it up into 5 categories how we as Black women are the blueprint, and then again, I'm going to end with some tips for us blueprint Black women to just take home and go away with. So in my opinion, we have pretty much, like I stated before, touched every aspect when it comes to hair, fashion, beauty, entertainment, and the culinary arts. So we're going to go ahead and start with number 1, and that is hair. So we all know about the natural hair community. The movement was started for type 4 girlies to celebrate and love and uplift their hair types. So what happens when we have something that's positive, that's for us? Here comes the what about us police. So next thing we know, everybody, all different hair, the type 1s, 2s, and 3s, they're all upset because they feel like they're not included. So then they come into our movement. Unfortunately, some Black women did put those type of hair textures on a pedestal due to inferiority complexes, etc. While other times it was just simply the brands and marketing, they chose to back up the hair type that they preferred. So what happened? The movement ultimately, unfortunately, failed and was hijacked by other hair types, oftentimes leaving type 4 hair to be underrepresented altogether. But that is okay because we are in a new space and time, and we as curly hair cuties, we are taking the microphone back and we are uplifting Coily hair types. So if you want full information about that, be sure to check out my video, The New Natural Hair Movement. But anyway, also when it comes to hairstyles, we are basically the ones who set all the trends there too. So if you see any type of woman, whether mixed and biracial, white, etc., rocking braids, wigs, weaves, hair art, hair jewelry, just so many things, that all comes from Black women. And also, even though it is often deemed as ghetto and unkept and ratchet, etc., when we wear our bonnets, now you will literally see all types of races of women in a bonnet at this point. That also came from Black women to preserve our hair. But again, we are always mimicked, always. Anytime we do something, it's criticized, but anytime another race of women do it, it is complimented, and that is just another example. But next, we're going to move into fashion. So as we know, we are literally the trendsetters in fashion as well. So some things I can think about is definitely hoops. So this reminds me of the LL Cool J song when he was like, I want a girl with extensions in her hair, bamboo earrings, at least 2 pairs. That was definitely about Black women. Also gold jewelry, including the gold jewelry that has like your name on it, or just dainty gold jewelry. That fashion definitely came from Black women. Also, in my opinion, I feel like the current Fashion Nova, BBL, baddie aesthetic and all that stuff, I feel like that came from Black women too. I feel like it was popularized by Black women, because I remember in the early 2000s when we were wearing jersey dresses. I don't know if you girls remember that, but I feel like that was the parent of the now Fashion Nova dress or tight-fitted bodycon dress and all that type of stuff. I know the pinup girls used to wear a version of that dress, but there is definitely a difference between the pinup girl version of that form-fitted dress and the baddie aesthetic that came from Black women that is literally off the charts. All races of women wear it. It is literally the latest fashion, etc. Also, long nails, that definitely came from Black women. And again, that's another one. When we wear our long, beautiful nails with the nail art, etc., we are often deemed as ghetto and ratchet, etc., but we're criticized and everybody else is often celebrated. Now you will see all type of rappers, mixed and biracial rappers within the hip-hop entertainment industry rocking those long nails that they got from Black women. Also, white toes, I feel like Black women were the ones who popularized the whole white toe movement. Now everybody is rocking it. Sneakerheads having a big time sneaker collection, that is flat out from Black women. Just all the hip hop songs when it comes to fashion, just really been into labels, etc. When those men are rapping, they are rapping about Black women. So all this obsession with the Gucci, the Prada, the Chanel that everybody is doing all over TikTok, etc., that came from the influence of Black women. You can argue with your mama because that's just the way it is. So also, the colorful prints and all that type of stuff, the vibrant colors that's kind of been really trendy lately, that's from the prints that come from Africa, those type of garments, etc. So just literally everything that you pretty much see right now that's trending came from the mind and the ideals of Black women. Next, we're going to get into beauty. So when it comes to beauty, we know that we are definitely the most beautiful woman, in my personal opinion, with minimum effort. We don't need all the extras, but when it comes to something like full lips, we know everybody is out literally putting syringes in their lips to get that plump lip that Black women are naturally blessed with. And in our childhoods, when we had those beautiful set of lips, it was often teased and basically criticized again. And now it is something that other groups of women are complimented about. It's a beauty staple, etc. But they are literally trying to mimic the beauty, the natural beauty of Black women. Also, when it comes to body types, so we are definitely known to have the more curvier figures naturally. Just you again, if you had that naturally curvy hourglass shape like in the 90s, early 2000s even, people were calling you fat. But now that same exact body type is what's trending. People are literally flying overseas to get surgically enhanced to get their body to look like a Black woman. So this definitely reminds me of Kim Kardashian because she is often deemed as one of the first people, I guess, to popularize the BBL look, but she literally was mimicking black women. She not only mimics the body type, she also mimics the style, she mimics the hairstyles, so many things that she mimics, but again, she is not the blueprint. She is just a carbon copy of what she sees from black women. But our next category is going to be entertainment, which again, we are all through and through entertainment, just no questions about it. So when it comes to entertainment, something that stood out to me is the speech patterns that everybody is adapting today. It's also called slang, ebonics, AAVE, whatever you want to call it. Some people are trying to say that that is TikTok talk or TikTok social media talk or whatever. No, that language came from black women. So, for example, when you hear people saying stuff like sis and child and all that type of stuff, they are literally mimicking black women. So people are, once again, trying to take what the blueprint created, how we naturally talk to each other and what was deemed as ghetto and ratchet and all that stuff. But now that everybody else wants to adapt it, now it's trendy, it's cool, it's etc., it's acceptable, etc. Once again, we are often criticized when everybody else is complimented for the same exact thing. Another thing is just social media overall, and definitely on TikTok. When it came to those TikTok dances and all the trends, especially during C19, that definitely was black women. In fact, I don't know if you girls remember when black women decided to boycott the dance trends and all that type of stuff by stop making dances because they feel like they were not properly compensated, or when they would create ideals, they will often be given to white creators by doing the dances that black people created, but they would give the credit to white people, etc. And when they decided to boycott, it literally was a ghost town. So that just proves right there that black women definitely have the influence. But I just feel like the overall culture of social media in general is definitely heavily influenced by black culture and definitely black women. Also, when it comes to music, so pretty much every singer that you can think of in the modern day that's trending, whether it's country, pop, R&B, etc., majority of that sound is definitely from black women. That soulful sound that a lot of artists that naturally do not have a soulful experience, they are literally straining their vocal cords to attempt to sound like a black woman, how we naturally soulfully sound. And a good example of this is if you ask pretty much any singer, again, within the modern, definitely within the past 20 years, who one of their biggest inspirations was, 9 times out of 10, they are going to say Whitney Houston. And as we know, Whitney Houston is definitely a monoracial black woman. But also hip-hop culture, like I kind of stated before, is definitely heavily influenced by black women. So whether it's the good, the bad, or everything in between, those songs are about black beauty, black love, and unfortunately it also has a lot of derogatory things about black women that I don't support. But nevertheless, all through and through, that sound, that music, all of that is influenced by black women. So these black men in hip hop and all the even white men, etc., just all the races of men that dominate hip hop, they have literally made millions off the backs of black women. Also, something else is comedy. I actually did a video about this. Black men mimicking black women to get monetary gain and literally make millions by mimicking our behaviors, our talking, our slang, our the way we dress, the way we interact with each other, or the way we interact with men, etc. A good example will be Tyler Perry, who plays Medea, and he literally is a billionaire off the backs of black women. So that is a good example. But there's just so many more. Martin Lawrence, just pretty much every modern day black comedian tries to mimic black women in one way or another. And next, we're going to get into the culinary trends and just the whole food culture. So American food at this point pretty much is soul food. Whether you go into a Chinese restaurant, Mexican restaurant, American restaurant, they all have things like fried chicken, etc. And as you know, that is a recipe that was designed by black people, primarily from the South during slavery, where we had to use really cheap ingredients to be able to create delicious meals with not having much. That is the origin of soul food. But now, again, soul food is pretty much American food at this point. If you log on social media, you are going to see some white girls somewhere talking about, I'm making my grandma's macaroni and cheese, all type of videos like that. But we know that a lot of these newfound stars and white women that are seasoning their macaroni and cheese, they got that from a black woman, hands down. You can argue with your mama about that, because we know that as a culture, they are not known for seasoning their food. So they had to watch us, mimic our recipes and things like that. But again, if you don't have the secret sauce, you may be able to make a macaroni and cheese, but it's definitely not going to be our grandma's macaroni and cheese. It's basically cheese and noodles at this point. But I want to also just state a little quote that I found to kind of sum up a lot of this, and also to give some encouraging words to us as black women when we feel like we're often mimicked, or anything that we do is criticized, again, when everybody else is complimented, etc. So the quote goes, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. So basically, without the blueprint, there is nothing. We literally we make the world go round, bottom line. So this also reminds me of the movie Bring It On. So I don't know if you girls seen that, but I don't know if you remember Gabrielle Union's character, when it basically was exposed that the white girls were stealing their dance moves and their cheers, etc. And they was actually winning competitions off the backs of black women. But when Gabrielle Union stepped up to the plate, she said that today is a new day. And she basically challenged them head on. And she told that white girl, I know you don't believe that all this was created by a white girl, do you? And I just find that to be so true. Like, I know these chicks don't believe that they have any type of sauce, any type of flavor, any type of style, any type of anything without black women, right? Like, are you delusional? What is going on? But anyway, also, when it comes to something that is meant for us, again, it's often deemed, we're always criticized. It's always, oh, we're ghetto, we're ratchet, we're this, but others often being praised, etc. All of the things that I stated above. My main solution to all of this is to continue to shine bright, shine loud, be loud, continue to speak up, continue to put yourself on that pedestal. People are going to intimidate. They're going to try to mimic you. And people are also very intimidated by black women, a confident, beautiful black woman who stands firm in her truth, stands firm in her power, etc. So I want to say, do not back down. Do not undermine yourself. Continue to shine bright in everything that you do, because we are here to stay. So the haters are just going to have to hate on, because we are back to basically place ourselves on the pedestal that we deserve as the blueprint. So all these attempted humbling tactics to try to make us feel like, oh, being the blueprint doesn't mean anything. There will literally be nothing without the blueprint. So again, do not let people, all this false propaganda, media, social media, all that stuff try to undermine you, undermine and police your beauty, etc. We as black women, we are again here to stay. Haters hate on, continue to be pressed and obsessed like a panini. Again, imitation is the greatest form of flattery to mediocrity. So continue to try to mimic and basically try to be us, but you can never be the original. You are always going to be the carbon copy. But this is going to be short and sweet. Be sure to leave any and all thoughts down below. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because there are a lot more videos on the way. Also, be sure to tell a friend because we are lit over here. But until next time, see ya.